Ha ha! Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Look, if you're still just holding XRP, no worries. XRP is about to go from this utilities payment token to a real yield bearing asset, thanks to Flare, my networks, and Firelight. It's a great day. It's a great day to be an XRP holder, an FLR holder, Songbird holder. It's a great day to be an asset holder if you're paying attention to the bigger picture, what's really going on. I'm going to get into it today. My guy, Mickey B. Fresh, laid down some stuff in his second to latest video. He laid down some stuff. We're going to get into it. We're going to cover that video with you guys tonight as well. Look, a little sad. David Schwartz gave us a heads up that he's going to be kind of stepping down from his role as CTO at Ripple. I don't know what he means by 40 years. Does that mean he's 40 years old? Or he's been doing this for 40 years? I'm thinking doing it for 40 years. But yeah, he's stepping down. He's going to hang out with the fam. He's going to work on some things that he wants to do that's different than what Ripple wants to do, which I thought was an interesting statement. But yeah, congrats and thanks, Dave. You have been, it's been an honor to listen to you. I wish I would have had a chance to meet you. It's been an honor for you to treat the community like family. No question was ever too dumb of a question. You had a genius way of explaining complex things, man. I'm telling you, it's a gift. And we appreciate you big time. We're going to miss you, my friend. We're going to miss you for sure. Guys, do me a favor and hit that like button. That'd be awesome if you could do that on the way in. That'd be really, really cool. We like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. Thanks for the subs. Subs a bit on the uptick. Big time. Sure, it has something to do with all things Flare Network and initially bringing value to XRP holders. So we're going to cover this Mickey B. Fresh video. I'm telling you, this dude has got some graphics, man. He's got some infographics or graphics. I don't know what you call these things, but they are next level. Next level. We're going to go over this charts and watch the video, and I'm just going to continue to be blown away looking at, don't be like this, looking at these graphics that he comes up with. I mean, my land. I mean, they're really, really good. What's going on with the market, Isam? What's going on with the market? I have no clue. That's how exciting it is for me. When I have no clue what Bitcoin is or XRP or FLR, I'm just excited about what's going on chain. I'm just excited about the future of the digital asset space, not concerned about prices at all. That's a good way. That's a good spot to be. Haven't looked at the price of stuff probably for a week at least. Haven't looked at it. That's kind of good. That's really good, in fact. So we're going to get into this video for sure. I do want to remind you guys just real quick. Again, tomorrow we're going to hang out, get to know one of the guys from MoneyMax. You know, MoneyMax is the creator of this awesome technology that helps you eliminate debt and interest in, awesome times, 7 to 10 years, including your mortgage, which is really, really good. All debt and including your mortgage in 7 to 10 years. That is cray cray. So we love it. We use it. It's awesome. We're gonna get to meet one of the guys from MoneyMax. Been with them for a minute, as we like to say. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time on a live stream. Come hang out. Let me show you where you can register. Where you can register. Where do I want to put that? I'll show you in the video in the description of this live stream so you can see it. Just click that link and then I'll show you what it says. What do you want here? Do that. Let me find it first, then I'll share it. It's right under thanks for watching the channel, midway through the description. But let me find it. I got it right there. Okay, good. Let me share this real quick. Get that out of the way. Look, we got to learn an important thing to understand how interest is really calculated. It's really important. What's the difference between a loan and a personal line of credit or a home equity line of credit? What makes a credit card a form of a line of credit? And how do you take advantage of using it? Things like that. Education is important, but I'm really excited to get to know this Rick a little more, a little better. Again, I told you my story. We flew out and met with the founders the marketing team, sales team. We met with the CTOs or the engineers, the developers behind it as well. But Rick was not there. All right. So what am I doing? I'm sharing. Why am I sharing? Oh, yeah, I do want to share. Okay. I'm sure where this is right here. See right here? So that's the beginning of the description. You scroll down a little bit. Right there, debt and interest eliminator technology. Learn more here. Click that link, and it's going to take you to this. Okay, it's from the MetaMax people. You can put your name here, last name, email, phone number, so I'll have it, and keep track of who's wanting to learn more about what we're going on, and to get a chance to. It's going to be about 30 minutes, maybe 35 at the most. We're going to hang out, get to know this guy a little bit better, learn a little bit more about this amazing technology, and we will go for there for sure. All right, let me do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to hanging out. You know how we do on these live streams? We're just gonna hang out. You know how we do. Hydro's in the building. What's going on, bro? Stephen Williams. Good morning, CJ. Nice and early today. Oh, okay, nice. Where are you from? Where's the morning right now, Stephen Williams? Where are you checking in from? That it's actually in the AM. Must be abroad somewhere. Hydro says David Schwartz stepped down. I heard going to the board. Yep. He's going to end his duties officially at the end of this year. So yeah, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. That'd be really awesome if you could make that happen. Let me make sure this live stream is the way I want it to do. I think I need to do this here right about to there. Then we're good. All right, so we're going to get into this Mickey B. I'm telling you, my guy, Mickey B. Fresh, he really laid it down in this video about real yield. Real yield, right? The Firelight is going to be providing you, not the typical proof of stake yield that takes place on Ethereum and other places, real yield. So yeah, we're going to get into this video. I don't want to talk too long. The video is like 35 minutes long. Sherwood Forest, you told me that before. You told me that before, didn't you? All right, let's do this. Let's get to this video. I'm telling you, let me share with sound. Aha, I remembered. I'm going to check out my guy, Mickey B. Fresh. We're going to get into it because I learned a couple of things from watching this video today as well. But he highlighted some really important things. It's important to know the differences. It's important to recognize real yield as opposed to inflationary things that happen for staking. Typically, I mean, just typical things. All right, so
the total addressable market for XRP. The total addressable market for XRP staking is the total value of XRP. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to stake, all the XRP in existence. There's no reason not to get yield on it. That said, I think a reasonable expectation is what I said before, which is, I genuinely think we could get to 5 billion by the middle of 2026 with a good tailwind, of course. For instance, we are working with Zaman, which is one of the major wallets on the XRP ledger, to create a smart account that enables you to stake directly from XRP ledger into Firelight on Flare without you having to touch the bridge. You don't have to interact with the bridge. You can just stake directly through what we call a smart account through Zaman, and that's in progress. And Zaman has, as I understand it, roughly 4 billion XRP. So, that's about $12 billion, just that. And I think, there's no reason that we wouldn't be able to pick up a reasonable amount of the assets that are used in Zaman. The appetite is very, very high.
Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. So today, we're going to wake up the XRP community because the next chapter isn't just utility, it's yield, real cash flowing yield, and it changes everything. For years, the XRP's value story was simple. Utility as a bridge asset in RippleNet and ODL payments, plus hope for institutional adoption. Nice in theory, weak in cash flow and storage demand. Now, with Firelight Vaults on the horizon, soon to launch, following Flare Network's F-Asset system, which will bridge XRP trustlessly in a non-custodial, decentralized manner to the Flare network. XRP transforms from a crypto commodity to a productive capital asset. You stake XRP as FXRP on Flare into Firelight Vaults, and you receive stXRP and earn real yield paid by services that buy economic security, not inflation, not taxing layer 1 network users with high fees. Actual services and customers of those services pay.
Let's say not taxes and high inflation, right? Typical proof of stake.
Paying for additional economic security. When you stake FXRP, you get a tokenized receipt called stXRP, and this is your claim to redeem the XRP staked in the vault, which is a standardized ERC 4626 contract. While you hold stXRP, which is a one-to-one representation that maintains its peg through organic arbitrage, and there will be liquidity to go from stXRP to FXRP in different liquidity pools. ESSs, short for economically secured services, pay fees to Firelight.
Look at this. Look at this chart. I mean, look at this thing. What the world? There's this neon. This is beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff, Mickey. ESS payouts, FTS Oracle, Relay, the insurance, verified compute, identity, KYC, cross-chain ops. Here's the Firelight Vault, which has staked FXRP in it under this ERC 4626 contract vault. I love this. Look at this base, real yield, Firelight Point, Centaura. Nice. FXRP is collateral asset staked to secure the ESS. No slashing risk in phase 1. In phase 1, earn base yield from fees paid by one or multiple ESSs. This is coming later. The protocol managed wallets with the FTSO, FTC enable cross-chain execution and data. That's coming in version 2.
Release that security. Those fees flow back to stXRP holders. How does this happen? This happens through Firelight's protocol and the ERC 4626 token standard, which is an account for all the rewards that are earned, which are likely going to be in FXRP and or stablecoins. You will also receive Firelight points, which will be likely convertible to Firelight tokens, considering Firelight is a institutional grade staking, and this is something the XRP community has waited years and has been anticipating, and is going to be massive for the whole ecosystem, which is built on decentralized finance protocols. And as XRP accrues the value from the economically secured services paying fees, your stXRP can be deployed. It's liquid. And you could use stXRP in DeFi while you keep earning the base yield. So that base yield, where does it come from? Yield comes from revenue, not from minting new tokens and not from extracting value from network users. That's
a really important deal, not from minting tokens or extracting value. Right, it's a couple of players recently coming to the space who are really coming here to extract value and not add value under the guise of providing yield. So this is really, really good. Look at this, double dipping on yields with the with stXRP. It's very nice. I gotta hire someone who can put this type of stuff together. I mean, look at this. 3D. It's beautiful stuff. Beautiful. Liquid staking XRP, Firelight points earned for FXRP staked, non-custodial, Centura Smart Yield Vaults, automated financial strategies. This is an example of what they might have in the vault: conservative, balanced, hedged, aggressive. So yeah, nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. Let me welcome some more people into the stream here real quick before I go on. Brother Crypto's in the building. What's good? How are you? Stony Bones. Stony Bones is here. What's good? What's good, my guy? Mickey Be Fresh. We're just checking out Mickey Be Fresh's video. This will be my second time listening to this, admiring these graphics that he's got going on.
This is huge because XRP has had no yield, no base yield, no integration into DeFi, and ESSs pay fees for uptime and security guarantees. Rewards are routed from secured service networks, and programmatic incentives tied to the performance. This is real yield. Customers paying for a service, not protocol inflation, not MEV extraction, not a fee tax on L1 users. There's no fixed APY or APR. It floats with the market. But guidance from Centura, the institutional DeFi and blockchain infrastructure company and data analytics risk management firm, has stated in recent X Spaces and in interviews, expecting 4 to 7% in phase 2 once the economically secured services launch.
Given the demand and the current momentum with the stable coins, all our tests and also a lot of the things that Flare is launching on DeFi show that we can be on the 4 to 6, 7% on yield on XRP, which for an asset that never seen a yield, that the cost of capital is fundamentally zero, is extremely attractive.
But that rate depends on a fee schedule per unit of security, how many ESSs or SSNs a vault secures, the total value secured, and the utilization, the revenue share terms to stakers after operator costs. And there's operators who will be likely many of the Flare validators, which will handle the infrastructure for these routing of rewards, slashing, and other services. So there's liquidity terms, and the lockups will be less than 2 days. The market sets the price of security, and your APY tracks that demand.
And then, of course, having other types of vaults, not Firelight. So one of the things that's quite nice and a huge differentiator between the vaults that currently exist on XRP and the vaults that can exist on a smart contract chain like Flare is that the vaults for XRP naturally go and get their economic exposure through a centralized exchange. The problem with that is they have a counterparty risk. They have a counterparty risk with that centralized exchange, meaning if that centralized exchange goes bankrupt, then the money that that vault provider has put on that centralized exchange may be lost. And that's rather unpleasant, and we've seen that before. In fact, we've seen it many times in our industry. One of the things about vaults with regards to Flare DeFi, and there will be vault offerings for Flare DeFi specifically that are separate from Firelight. One of the things about vaults that can use Flare DeFi is those strategies can be carried out entirely on chain, and therefore you don't have the same exposure to the credit of the exchange.
Important, and a lot of people seem to keep overlooking that. But there's major counterparty risk to those other things out there claiming to provide yield to XRP holders. Just got to know the game that you're in. It's important. You got to know the game that you're in for sure. And it's really important to know the differences. Don't just go by the hype. Don't just go by words being tossed out there into the ecosystem and just go run to it. without really understanding it. That's why I say we're on a journey to becoming a sophisticated investor who does. I watched the video that Mickey is highlighting here. I watched that interview. I watched the first video, right? You're doing your due diligence, capturing little nuggets so that you can understand the difference between what you hold or what you seek as opposed to other things that are out there. XRP is a valuable asset, and it's about to be recognized as such in a major way. And we're talking about $90 billion market cap. You got major institutions just chomping at the bit. Can't wait to get started with Firelight. They got other vault providers coming to Flare, different than Firelight as well. They're coming as well. Probably for those of you who are like, impermanent loss, maybe not, right? So those vaults would be good for those people. I'm going to hang out with Firelight. I'm going to hang out on SparkDex. I'm going to hang out with Delta Neutral Strategies and things like that. I enjoy doing it. But yeah, in addition to it, Firelight vaults are coming, and they're coming. There's going to be other things, other forms of vaults coming. Again, we shared yesterday, Mickey, that Hugo called out those in the space currently that are operating without a license and are not regulated, and calling things one thing when it's actually really another thing. So surely the people coming to Flare, they're going to have some boxes checked before they can hop on, if you understand what I'm saying.
And this means that you're using a DEX, an on-chain lending protocol, an on-chain first protocol. And so whilst there is still economic risk with regards to the markets, the price risk, or liquidation risk, you don't have the same risk, counterparty risk. And this is quite nice relative to the vaults that currently exist on XRP.
And there'll be different options for different vaults following phase 2. And Centaura has a smart yields platform. If you're not aware, they are the partner integrator for Ripple and Aave, which RLUSD, some might not be aware, this will shock you, 400 million, yes, 400 million of the 715 million RLUSD that Ripple has minted and are issued in circulation is in Aave protocol on Ethereum. And their recent launch of Horizon, which is an institutional real-world asset lending protocol, allows institutions to put up tokenized RWAs as tokenized treasuries, money market funds, and borrow RLUSD against them. And that has hit max capacity at 30 million already, and it just began. So Ripple's focus is DeFi. Flare's focus is DeFi. Centaura's focus is institutional DeFi. Your focus should be DeFi. So the yields come from not inflation or user fees like in regular proof-of-stake networks that pay stakers by diluting supply or taxing transactions. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how Solana and Ethereum work.
Correct.
XRPL has neither. And Flare, with their super validators, operate real infrastructure, consensus, the FTSO price feed oracle, the Flare data connector client, and nodes on the XRPL, Bitcoin, Doge, and run validators that secure the consensus. So they're securing data to oracle systems and the bond tokens. So that's not like your typical proof of stake network where it's just token staked and people delegate. It's all based on that token. Firelight is different still.
Let's listen to that again.
Bond tokens. So that's not like your typical proof of stake network where it's just token staked and people delegate. It's all based on that token. Firelight is different still because it's not a layer 1 network. It's not a blockchain. It is agnostic to the networks that it could connect to, and it's inherently built on Flare's upcoming groundbreaking protocol managed wallets, which can actually own accounts on other networks. And that's for another deeper dive to get into. But F assets is just the beginning. There's a lot of anticipation and hype around that. It's going to be a process, and Firelight will earn real yield to.
This is very, very good. It's going to be a process, but XRP5 composable yield flywheel. I like it. Your XRP, which right on the ledger, mint FXRP on the ledger, right? Locked up, mint on Flare. You get FXRP, right? You can put it on Firelight. You'll get this receipt slant representation of what you staked, these would be the different things you can help, but it's real yield, not those other things out there. It's different than what Solana does for staking. It's different what Ethereum protocols do for staking. It's real yield. There's this PDF out there from Centaura that I just started looking over that kind of discusses the differences in yield, yield stakers, yield seekers. Mickey B. Fresh mentioned in the video, so I went and found it. But it's really good. So these are some of the services that can be that you can stake and provide services and get yield from. And then he's going to have these yield vaults from Centaura, and people can kind of get to kind of choose their risk ranges if they will, or they can just have stXRP and don't do anything with it. It's just staking, But if you want yield on your yield, perhaps you'll look into Centaura's. You consider the Centaura yield vaults. I'll be definitely doing, doing things with stXRP, most likely on my own in Flare DeFi, lending and different things like that. But just having those options to earn yield on yield and being treated just the same, if not better, than the Bitcoin ecosystem and the Ethereum ecosystem. When you think about it, when this actually does launch, when it launches, I just hope people get that Ethereum is currently priced at over $4,000. Like there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's because it's been by the ecosystem, by the asset space, treated as a valuable asset. And now it's XRP's turn. Do a lot of things better than what was done with ETH. I hope you understand that. I just hope you understand that we're gonna be doing a lot of this right now. This staking is completely different than when it's done on Ethereum. It's completely different. It is significantly better. It's a better model. So I believe that DeFi is going to be better here. I really do. Right? And the asset XRP is going to become more and more valuable. There's a flywheel that is going to happen where people are going to want to get more XRP because they just, for one simpleton reason, they're going to look at the price and they're going to look at the price of ETH and they're going to say, why will it not eventually get there?
Phase 2. And in phase 1, you'll get Firelight points, which will be likely convertible to Firelight tokens. And remember, institutional grade. So there's not some rinky-dink tokens. And we still got to find out more details on that. And you'll get stXRP, which will be fully deployable in Flare's DeFi ecosystem.
Once you have the asset on the other side, you need to unlock economic utility to produce yield. That's what we do, right? That's why we have built an entire platform. So when you bring the two together, right, it creates real utility. You have best-in-class interoperability, XRP out to Flare, interoperability, security, with real economic yield-generating use cases on the other side. We have seen, including some of the examples that I named before, many attempts at solve the first leg, right? And you stake and whatever, and there's nobody consuming that. And then many fantastic use cases of unlocking DeFi for XRP and all that don't have the interoperability robustness to make it work. So without the two pillars, it just doesn't work.
And what's interesting about this is that Centaura has a $3 billion in institutional capital deployed in DeFi for institutions through their Smart Yields non-custodial vault platform. So there's going to be, as you see in the diagram, all the way to the right, there's vaults that they curate that will set a strategy. So you take STXRP, one click, deposit, and then it executes that strategy, whatever that is. It could be complex, it could be high risk, it could be low risk, whatever. They're going to have a different choices that you could enter into. Or you could just take your STXRP and go into borrow against it. Say borrow Flare, and to get more of the Flare drops. And you could borrow stablecoins, likely to mint. Well, you're going to be able to put up your STXRP.
Yeah. So yeah, when you do when you're doing that borrowing and lending, so right. So I would think lend XTXRP and borrow stables, right? So in the lend and borrow, my borrowing asset is stable coins. Now, what I do with the stable coins is on me. If then I want to sell most of the stable coin to get FLR, so I can then go and wrap the FLR, and then I can delegate the FLR. That's to get more of the flare drops or get more of the RFLR rewards. That's cool, but probably don't want to do lending STXRP and borrowing FLR, right? Right? Probably don't want to do that one, right? Because you don't want the borrowing a volatile asset. You want to borrow the stable coin, right? So that's important. So you probably want to borrow the stable coin, right? So you don't want to have two volatile assets and one's in a lend and one's in a borrow. That's a real tough managing thing going on there. So just a heads up. Not financial advice. I'm just saying that's what I would do if I wanted to get more FLR and I got STXRP. I would personally lend the STXRP, borrow a stable coin, trade some of that stable coin for FLR, right? So then, what I'm paying back, right? What I'm paying back is stables. I don't want to be, because when you borrow the asset, it goes by the units, right? So if you borrow FLR and you borrow 1,000 units of FLR, you have to pay back 1,000 units of FLR. Then FLR could go, yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to just borrow the stables, right? So that you got a set amount that you're paying back. You're paying back $1,000 in stable coins, right? So just so you know.
To mint a decentralized stablecoin, which is going to be most likely yield optimized is the word, meaning if the collateral is earning yield, means you get the base yield, and then you get a decentralized stablecoin pegged to USD, which then you can go and
let me see here. Use STS yield-bearing collateral. STSP is liquid staking token. Mint over collateralized yield optimized stablecoin. That's coming, right? Would you XRP as a collateral? You meant a stablecoin, right? FLUSD, interesting. Flare USD, I guess that's just something he's putting. We don't know what the minted stablecoin is going to be yet coming from Enosis, but I believe that's what he's talking about. And you can stack the yields, right? Base yield 4 to 7% for economic security, DeFi yield 3 to 50% for lending FLUSD. I wonder where you're getting that. If you just made that up or you got that from somewhere, because I thought we hadn't really officially got a name for that stablecoin yet. Lending vaults lend FLS USD to earn 8 to 25% APY. And yeah, you're welcome. To earn 8 to 25%. Total real yields 12 to 25%. But it's just, again, DeFi is a long-term strategist, long-term. You can get weekly rewards and you can cash flow once or twice a month, sure, but it's a long-term strategy. It's a long-term. Doesn't mean that things take long. It just means it's a long-term strategy. Which you can create. You can create some big-time cash flow. I know people in DeFi now are literally doing their DeFi so that they can get out of their jobs. They're literally doing DeFi because they have already grabbed the bag and they're doing DeFi to pay bills, create cash flow, and create a lifestyle. Right? And you want to hold, in my opinion, you want to hold the most valuable of those assets, right? In this new financial system, there's a list of a few that are up the top tier assets, right? The top tier and being recognized. Doesn't mean in the bull cycle they give you the most return, right? They may give you 3 to 7 X's, and they're not the 10 to 15 X's, but they're the most recognized and most valuable in this new financial system. Having gone through a couple of cycles, having created network adoption, right? These are the assets and some of the criteria that helps to fall in line with becoming a valuable asset, especially year-on-year return. Something crazy like Bitcoin's 3-figure numbers. It's crazy. Okay.
Lend at probably 8 to 12%. And now you're looking at 15 to 20% in a low risk way with your XRP. And that's going to have a significant impact over time on XRP and community, the value, and the narrative, because the narrative is going to change.
Like if we get really, really ambitious about this, I think a good subjective measure of success will be when the narrative around XRP changes from this sentiment-driven thing that it is today to a yield-friendly asset. Like in Ethereum, everybody associates ETH with yield. You want to get to that point. You want people to know that the XRP could have a yield associated with it. Like it's so seamless that every XRP holder should think about it that way.
And the rewards are customer revenue. So this is not printing tokens. I just want to reiterate that. This is actual real yield. If you want to check out further, Centaura released a paper called Real Yield. And Flare has already signed multiple XRP treasury corporations, public companies, that are going to deploy a couple of $100 million into the ecosystem. Vivo Power, Weebus, and there's a number of others. And Centaura has been in DeFi for years through the bear market. And DeFi summer is the next big thing that is coming. It's not ETFs, which are great, but that's a short-lived shot pump.
Yeah, it's a short pump, right? It's not long-term. It's very important to understand. Let me welcome some more people into the stream. I know a lot of people get excited about institutions and what they're going to be doing. Oh, look, they got an ETF for you to not hold the real asset, but just have exposure to it. But those are short-lived. The real deal is long-term DeFi, sustainable DeFi with valuable assets. Part of the group that I'm with, they're always inputting that in my mind. Bitcoin and Ethereum. They hold Solana, they hold Sui, they hold other things, but they really emphasize growing that stack of the world's most recognized and valuable assets. It's not valuable because I say so or because they say so. It's because if it's network adoption and Metcalfe's law, right? That's why the assets are valuable. What's going on, Keyless? How are you, miss? Appreciate you checking in. The Necro Cannon is here. What's up, my guy? Make sure y'all hit that like button when y'all people come in. When y'all come in, peeps. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Rick Cisneros is in the building. How are you, bro? Cryptoism X. What's good? Good evening, Mr. Siege. Hopefully everything is going well. Life is great, bro. Hope it's good with you as well. What is that? SoFlow Digital is in the building. Good afternoon to you, my friend. Yes, that's correct. So Stony Bones Firelight is not live yet. They're going to need a couple or 3 weeks before they go live. I think they want to make sure there's more volume, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Things are going smooth before they launch. Brother Crypto says, what do you think about Swift putting the house's money on a layer 2? I don't know, man. Is it a layer 2? I thought they were building their own thing with consensus. Good luck with that, Swift. Rick Cisneros says, CJ, I've been in the Mickey B Fresh channel almost five years. He got those charts from ChatGPT. That's where they were created. From ChatGPT? Those graphics like that? You sure it wasn't some other form of AI? It can't be just Sora. I mean, you talking about 3D stuff, neon. I'm sure he's using some kind of Adobe Photoshop or something. That's right. That's right. If you don't custody the asset, you're slipping. Yes, sir. Lesson learned. That is the truth. The network cannon says, yep, I've been in DeFi for a long time, and he's telling the truth. Yeah. So it's important to understand that's long-term. It's long-term strategy for sure. But the great thing is it possible? And you're going to get an early start on something that is going to be the new financial system. It is going to be about, in my humble opinion, it is going to be about cash flow. It is about having $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 or bag, learning to create cash flow from that in DeFi. In my humble opinion, learning how to do that in DeFi, how to create cash flow so that you can keep the bag and grow the bag, create monthly cash flow to live your life, pay bills, whatever it is, right? Make sure you come hang out with my guy tomorrow, Wednesday, so you can learn how to get rid of that traditional financial debt, right? It's just going to be a little sneak preview and an introduction, right? So you want to be able to do that so that you can take advantage of things like dividend paying cash value policies, right? So you can take advantage of things like DeFi, so you can grow your treasury of valuable assets and create cash flow, right? It's two different things, right? But I believe that is going to be the way. It's going to be the future, in my opinion. That's right. Neko Cannon says they better be learning now how to do DeFi plays. That's exactly right. 100%. Right. And our Patreon is going to be set up for Flare DeFi for sure. And again, I'm just going to recommend my guys who I'm learning from and my mentor for the other ecosystems that I'm in, Base and Solana and Sui, et cetera, et cetera. But I really want to focus the Patreon group on DeFi and getting rid of this traditional financial debt, because it's important that we rid ourselves of that old system. It's important. Chicken Dinner 619. What's going on, my friend? Great channel and great advice. Thank you. Thanks for all your hard work, CJ. You're welcome, bro. Cash flow is the way it is. It really is. Really, really is. Really, really is. And I get it. There's other things out there that you can do, but if it's tied to the dollar in a debt type of thing, you have to learn how to beat that system. Cool. You want to buy a few buildings with a bunch of doors? Cool. Learn how not to be hoodwinked in that model. You just got to learn it. You got to learn how to flip it on their head. Right? So it's important. It's really, really important. All right. So let's get back to the Mickey B. Fresh video. And what I mean by learning it is learning the technology that's going to keep you out of getting yourself in trouble. Right?
To the price. There could be people from TradFi that could enter, but it doesn't do anything more. I'm going to talk about that a little. What does it mean? And why do institutions care about this? This is not a degen protocol. It's engineered with years of experience behind it. And FXRP has been designed by Flare for the last 6 years. Brings XRP to Flare with decentralized agents and over collateralization in version 1.2. And in version 2, which will be the end of the year, protocol managed wallets will coordinate cross-chain control under the security of Flare's consensus and 125 plus validators. And protocol managed wallets runs on trusted execution environments, enforced actions securely by Flare's consensus. So one interesting component of the Firelight Vaults is they're isolated. So the risks of slashing are isolated to each vault. And it maps to specific services. So there'll be clear slash and penalty logic and possibly optional tranches within the vaults to match a risk appetite. This is the stack institutions ask for. It's also, when we think of institutions, it's not just institutions using their money, but customers of those institutions. That's what's the most interesting. Like Uphold, Crypto.com have already announced integration. They want to offer the ability for their client to earn yield on their idle assets.
And one of the things, that's a good point. One of the things that Hugo said the other day is there's tons of exchanges, right? Because just think about this. I remember not too long ago, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, Hugo and Santiago Velez doing the interview. I forget who it was with, but both of them had said that the vast majority of XRP is being held on exchanges by XRP holders. They have their XRP on exchanges. The vast majority of them. Now, for me, that's very, very alarming, but this is what it is. And what we later found out is that these exchanges want to keep customers. So they're going to want to provide a service to the XRP holder that for some reason on Coinbase or whatever got their XRP there. And they want to be able to earn some yield. So they're going to, these exchanges are going to really be tapping into what Flare has going, what they have going on for sure. And Hugo said that these exchanges would like to be able to offer these services, right? For those, especially those out there who have this, concern about custodying stuff themselves. I'm still alarmed that is the case, that the vast majority of XRP holders have their XRP on exchanges. But it is what it is.
And regulatory clarity has arrived for staking and liquid staking. You might not be aware of this, but in 2025, the SEC's Division of Corporate Finance signaled that properly designed protocol staking uses delegating assets to secure networks or services is not a securities transaction in itself. That clarity opened the door for U.S. institutions to participate.
That's right. And why do you think they did that? Because the institutions have finally recognized that this asset class brought on by this administration and both of the major two regulators, this is an asset class that is happening. It's here to stay. And this is what institutions want. They want an ability to earn yield on those assets. That's what they want. They want an ability to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, right? ETH. That's what they want. That's why they pass up. That's why they're making these changes, because this is what they want. They want to be able to earn it. Now, we were here first, which is a blessing, and we're gonna be able to benefit as well in a level playing field with all that other kind of nonsense out of there, like accredited investor. But this is what's going on. And, I just think that if you understand, I just want you to think about it, some of you guys are going to be in liquidity pools, and that value of that pool is $100 because that's where you can start. Some of you are going to lend on Kinetic, and the value of that lent asset is $100. But you got to understand that one day that $100 is going to be $1,000 if you don't lose it. It's going to be 1,000, and one day that 1,000 is going to be 5,000 in value. That's why you lean to the valuable assets. That's why you lean towards the valuable ones, because maybe you can't say that if you're down CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and you're at token, 10,500, right? Because DeFi is long term. Right? It's probably that $100 is probably not going to last to the next cycle. You understand? So you want to hold the valuable assets. You want to build that treasury up, stack and stack and stack, and earn more of the valuable asset and implement strategies to protect the assets, implement strategies that hedge against the downside and the bear markets. These are all strategies that all of them can be learned. They all can be learned.
Either for themselves or on behalf of clients within a policy. They've also, just this past month, clarified liquid staking tokens are not securities. So there's clarification directly from the SEC, and this will likely be put in an official rule and possibly in the Market Structure Bill or Clarity Act that's in the Senate right now being debated.
Yep.
And it's likely to pass by the end of the year. So how does the XRP flywheel work? Here's the positive feedback loop. More XRP staked equals stronger security, and more ESS onboarded equals more fees, and stXRP accrues value, deeper liquidity and integrations, more reasons for new ESS to launch and pay for security. That's a flywheel, and it compounds. So let's talk the impact on circulating supply of XRP. In order for tens of billions, if 5 to 10% stakes into Firelight Vaults, so of the circulating supply of 5 to 10% is of 50 billion XRP roughly, into Firelight Vaults, Flare's TVL will absolutely explode. So XRP at around $3 right now. You're looking at a significant amount. That's almost 300 million at the top in TVL. That would be huge if Flare is able to get that much. Now that's going to take time, but it's very attractive as a step function up in liquidity, because XRP is dormant capital right now. It is not being used. Even ODL, it's recycled and passed through value. At 4 to 7% APY, stakers will collectively earn hundreds of millions in annual rewards. Structural supply reduction. Staked XRP is less likely to hit exchanges. So once it's deposited in the vaults, this will ease sell pressure while yields attract new buyers. So you won't have that instant demand pump from, say, like ETFs when they launch. That'll be very short-lived. It'll plateau and then likely also competing with other ETFs of other cryptos. ETH and Bitcoin, who have ETFs now, have had a unique situation. They're not competing with any other cryptos. But once there's Solana, there's Avalanche, there's others, the ETFs, yes, they grab the 401ks and all that money tied up in legacy accounts, but it's going backwards. It's for the legacy markets to dip their toes, but it's not going to have a lasting impact in the same way when you introduce staking, and it's directly in the ecosystem and drives.
That's funny. This was one of the things in the recent interview that Hugo mentioned about, Paul brought it out about the ETFs, and Hugo said he had envisioned that 5 to 7 years from now that there wouldn't be any need for an ETF. Right? There wouldn't really be a need for ETFs.
The development. So these rewards paid in fees, and there's programmatic incentives. Flare is dropping 2.2 billion R Flare over 12 months into select DeFi dApps on Flare, which could be where a strategy from the Centaur Vault is routed through. And then you earn R Flare, which accrues to its full value after 12 months. If you claim it early, it gets cut in half. But you do earn the Flare drops from the R Flare that you do receive. Structural supply reduction. So staked XRP is less likely to hit these exchanges, and the valuation will shift. Analysts can now model XRP as an income-generating crypto capital, not just a utility token. There's this false perception that utility run, and just the word utility is going to take off. What does that mean? Like, utility can be anything from it's used as transaction fees and gas fees. That's not going to do it. That's not going to drive the value. There's never going to be enough. They're so inexpensive. So ODL's a bridge. That's good. That grabs liquidity, but it's a quick buy and sell or sell into the market for those institutions. They don't have a reason to hold it. Yes, it's a real world utility. Great. Doesn't mean it always drives value. So besides speculation, which has been so far predominantly, this drives real financial activity because then you could use it as collateral. Probably the single best use case for a financial asset is using it as collateral and it being yield bearing. So an asset that earns you cash flow that also appreciates and that you could borrow against is a powerful asset, especially when you get the whole DeFi.
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop it there. But stXRP massively a wanted asset in this space, a want in the whole crypto space. This stXRP, it's going to be interesting because again, this is still ERC, right? It's going to be interesting to see the bigger players like the Avis of the world. What are they going to be offering? It's going to be very, very interesting to see. We heard or saw earlier in the video how Centaur and Ripple working together with Aave. So this stXRP is going to become a very, very recognized, highly valuable asset in this space. Right? It's going to be, it's going to become, in my opinion, it's going to become a highly valuable asset. Highly valuable. Neko Cannon says, I will not do MXRP as you lose custody of the underlying asset as per the white paper we went over here. Yep, 100%. MXRP is not for me. Nope, no way, no way, no how. I'm definitely Firelight is going to be it for me. CJ, thoughts on Caleb and Brown? I keep some there. They use Fireblocks technology, institutional grade custody. I only know a little about Caleb and Brown. I know they reached out a few times for some collabs and stuff. I don't know enough about them to say. You have to be the most comfortable. I'm a self-sovereign guy, so and that's what I believe in. I believe in leveling up my skills to meet right, to meet the value of the assets I hold. So or to exceed that value, right? So my skill set needs to be bigger than the assets that I hold. So that's what I'm a big proponent of that, given the history of the space. So I can't speak to Caleb and Brown. Correct, CJ. Even Franklin Templeton is looking at DeFi. Correct, they are the Neko Cannon, big time. I don't remember hearing like in Massachusetts, did they pass the Bitcoin Reserve Bill? I never heard. I'm not sure about that, Peter Summers. What's going on, man? Appreciate you checking in. What are you saying about the ERC20 token bricks? CJ asked Mickey about Centaura point system. He said they will give out points. Yep, that's correct. Which he believes he can be swapped for XRP and FLR and many other digital assets in the future. Yeah, I don't know what the point system is going to look like. It's going to be interesting for sure. I would think the points are going to be directly relation to a token that they're going to most likely have for themselves, some Firelight Fi token. That would be my guess. No, we're not waiting on clarity for us to use these platforms in lending and borrowing, and not in the Flare DeFi. We're not doing that. So no. So I don't. For me, these things are coming. There's still a bunch of platforms that you cannot operate on as a US, like Midas. You can't operate that way. But for me, clarity is coming. For me, clarity is definitely coming. The U.S. administration has already signaled that. So, not waiting. Carl Billy's is in the building. How are you, my friend? Caught you live. Hey, friends. What's good with you, Carl Bills? Carl Billy's in the building. So, yeah, so I'm going to stop it there. Check out that video, guys. This is my second time watching it. Check out Mickey B. Fresh's video. Definitely watch all of that. Level up your skill set for sure in this space so that you're prepared for Firelight when that comes, without question. You want to be prepared for it. Just be careful, partition, allocate, portfolio management is important. I have this thing of not being all in on anything, whether it be a cold storage wallet, right? Have multiples, whether it be a particular DeFi platform, right? You want to have some bags. You want to have a DeFi bag that don't do, you want to have a treasury bag where you're just growing the treasury. You want to have a DeFi bag, perhaps a cash flow bag, that type of thing. You want to separate them and grow them, right? 3 bags, grow them type of strategy for sure. And I get it. Some people DeFi isn't for them. They're still kind of wrapped in the dollar. But for me personally, in this channel, I believe that it's a new financial system, and this new financial system is going to have new assets, and they're going to be something to be more recognized as a valuable asset than others. Just like we have a slew of precious metals, right? For example, I think we're going to have that as well. 6 p.m. Central Time, Crawbillies. So it's an introduction to one of the guys over at Money Max. Is that what it says? SoFlo Digital. Yeah, is that what it says? So, that's kind of how it is for sure. Yeah. Someone has to implement or execute an implementation of a rule. And it won't be this current administration, right? So there's that. So something to understand, not financial advice. That's right. That's right. That's right. These things are going to be filling up. stXRP, Firelight is a big deal. I would not sleep on it. It is a big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal. And they're recognizing what Flare is building, which I think is incredible. It speaks volumes to Flare and the team there for sure. So, but look, dream come true. This is what we've all been waiting for, and be able to put some of our idle XRP to use. Some of our idle XRP to use, right? And as your skill set grows and your comfortableness grows, maybe you can change, right? But you want to practice ergodicity, right, in everything that you do. So, because it's hard to recover from the irrecoverable, right? So, game over, lose everything, not a great spot to be, right? So, you want to practice ergodicity for sure. But this is what we've been waiting for, man. Just some people just being able to stake, grow a bag, stake. Well, I mean, you got to think Lido. You got to think Eigenlayer and all the others. You got to think, why are they in the billions and billions of dollars? You got to you got to think why that is. There's a reason for that. And now the XRP asset is going to have that same type of thing. I hope you can see that. It's coming. And you'll be able to participate. It's a way to take money from the dirty, nasty fiat system, which is becoming the old system. Buy valuable assets in this new system, in my view, that are undervalued. All of them, in my view. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, SUI. In my view, the ones I just mentioned, and FLR, of course, undervalued, in my humble opinion. undervalued, you know, undervalued. And if you understand the path to alt season, there's a strategy, right? There's a strategy to it all. You don't want to be operating in fourth phase when we're still in two phase. It's important, right? Two and a half phase. That's important to understand how you multiply that money so that you can really multiply it, right? Phase 3, phase 4, they're not even up to bat yet. ETH is on second base. No, ETH is on third base. Solana and XRP and Sui are on second base. The goal is to get home. The other caps aren't even up to the plate yet. The pitcher's got the ball. He's not even ready to pitch yet because we're just what is it? Ranging. So we're just raging, right? Mid caps are on deck. They're not even at the plate yet. Pitcher's got the ball, but we're just ranging. He's not ready to pitch yet. We're just ranging. You understand? The goal is to get home, right? The goal is to get home. But your stuff is not up yet, right? The vast majority of people, their assets are not even up yet. They're not up to the plate yet. ETH is on third. We got a little bit of a lead, but the pitcher's not ready to pitch yet because we're still ranging. Still ranging. So remember that. It's Bitcoin, then ETH, then L1s, then mid caps and low caps. Right? You compound 10,000. You compound it to 20 to 25,000. You compound the 20 to 25,000 in the L1s to 100,000. Yeah, 100,000. You can rotate it to a mid cap, slant, low cap that you love for the 10 to 15. That's how it works. When you exit out, for me, I'll be exiting out in the Bitcoin and their stables. Doing it again. Right? Doing it again. You've got an asset that's valuable that'll have DeFi in the bear market. Ooh, do you understand? You got an asset that's valuable that's going to have DeFi in the bear market. What does that mean? You can accumulate this thing at very, very low prices, earn and keep earning it in DeFi. And you're just building up the treasury. Pretty cool. Pretty cool strategy. All right, fam. I'm gonna hop off here. Thank you so much. I've been rambling long enough. Yeah, not a fan of Midas at all, Necro Cannon. Not at all. Not great. Not great. I just tell people, if I was talking to my family, I'd be like, just wait for Firelight. Why are you messing around with something that's not even it's a security, right? It's not a great look, especially if you're US. Do the homework. The docs are available. Midas.app. Hit docs. Go through all the documents there. Read them for yourself. Load it up to ChatGPT, and you'll find out what MXRP really is. Right? If I said it once, I'll say it 10,000 times. It is heavily weighted in favor of the issuer slant custodian, slant the professionals with all the professional tools. It's an MNAV certificate, CAS, debt instrument, CAS settled NAV. You don't understand that game. I don't understand that game, which means you're at a disadvantage because they can leverage your lack of knowledge, right? You're going to give up this valuable asset that you understand. Do you have a better understanding of it, right? You have a better understanding and knowledge of what real staking is, as opposed to dealing with some liquid yield bearing token thing that's not staking, right? So why mess around with your valuable asset and something in an arena that you don't understand, hoping that they're going to be able to get some supposed yield doing something that they're doing that you don't know that they're doing, that maybe you thought was too risky. And again, if it doesn't come with a non-rehypothecation clause, and if they're operating unsupervised abroad, staking on Firelight just seems really simple. One click, maybe two. It just seems real simple. And you're going to know what you're staking into. You're going to know, oh, I'm providing a service for this thing that's doing this thing. And this is what they're going to be paying because of what they're doing. You're going to know what's going on. You're not going to be in the blind on some trust me bro thing or some people living abroad, operating freely and carefree because they're not supervised. Why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? Right? And so Hugo just said in his interview, he called out both Doppler Finance and Midas. He called them out for a reason. Called them out for a reason. So I will watch that video. All right, fam. I'm going to hop off here. I appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor and hit that like button on the way out. That'd be awesome if you could do that. Real yield with your FXRP is coming. It's just a matter of weeks. Be patient. Don't chase the game. Let the game come to you. Your assets are too valuable. I'll say it again. Go to where your assets are treated best. And I promise you, it's not in MXRP. I promise you, it's not there. All right, fam. I'm going to hop off here. I appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor and hit that like button on the way out. That would be super duper cool. If you could do that, that'd be awesome. And if you happen to be in that 55% or so of people that are hanging out, listening to and watching the Crypto Siege, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, baby, so you know whenever I go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this or perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.